Welcome back to Learn PHP on Code Academy. We're in the PHP and HTML section. This is what is the front end. Let's talk about the difference between a front end language and a back end language. HTML is a front end language, but what exactly does that mean? When navigating to a website from our web browser, the browser makes a request for content on our behalf. What we see and experience as a single website is actually composed of a number of files which come together to form a cohesive experience. The files we receive consist of JavaScript, CSS, HTML, images, and other static assets. A static asset is a file that doesn't change. When we navigate to a web page, these assets are sent to a browser. You may have heard front-end development referred to as a client-side development. In web development, we are typically referring to the browser as the client. The human may be experiencing the website, but it's the browser that makes requests for information and receives the responses. The front end of a website or web application consists of all the elements of the website that are sent to the client upon request, but something has to be listening for those requests and deciding what to send. It's the back end of the website that does all that and more. Our instructions say play the video for another explanation of these terms. Let's do that now.
The terms front-end and back-end are thrown around all the time in web development. But what exactly do they mean? Let's think of it this way. Imagine you go into a computer store. They probably have decorated the store nicely to make you feel comfortable and put a few computers out front for you to see. However, when you actually request to buy a computer, they will go to the back and retrieve a new computer for you to take home. Similarly in web apps, the front end is the part of the app the user will see. It is nicely designed and easy to interact with. The back end is where all of the data is stored and requests are processed, like a warehouse or a storeroom. The user can make requests from the front end to do things in the back end, like place an order for a computer. However, they can't go in there themselves. Let's say we're building a website for a restaurant. This site contains the restaurant's hours of operations, its menu, and directions to the restaurant. When a user visits this site, the HTML and CSS files for the site will be retrieved from the backend and displayed in the user's browser. What the user can now see, the rendered version of these HTML and CSS files, is the front end of the site.
So what this video is teaching us and this lesson is the difference between front end and back end. As it says here, front end development is usually referred to as client-side development. In web development, we're typically referring to the browser as the client. The front end of a website will consist of all the elements of the website that are sent to the client upon request. The things that listen for those requests that decide what to send is the back end. Understanding those two things is the purpose of this lesson, and we'll be looking at this more in the next lessons. Make sure to understand the difference between front end and back end before moving on to the next lesson, and I'll see you there.
Hey, quick question for you. Are you happy with your current job or career? Do you like to go to work every day and see yourself doing what you're doing right now forever? If not, I'd like to share with you a little bit about the sponsor of this video, the Programmer Coach. The Programmer Coach is an online coding program that helps people learn how to code and get a high-paying job as a software developer. Their program is unique in that they teach you how to code by doing, through practice, which is truly the only way to learn any skill at the end of the day, right? Plus, they provide you with coaches to help you whenever you run into any issues. They also have career coaching and placement services, where they work with you and help you get your first job as a software developer. And the best part, their program is affordable and accessible for anyone and everyone. That's right, you won't pay the bulk of your tuition until you actually land a job as a software developer. To learn all of the details you would ever need and get all of your questions answered, simply go to becomeaprogrammer.com. Becomeaprogrammer.com. Once again, that's becomeaprogrammer.com.